promising to be a warm day today, and we hope it stays that way as well as in your part of the country. I'm here in Lipa City at the moment, kung saan medyo malamig na po mga kaibigan, and actually, I think we even hit mga 21, 22 dito. So talo mo pa ang naka-aircon, pero even in spite of that, kailangan kong kulong dito dahil kailangan hindi maingay at hindi nyo nasasagap ang tilaok ng manok. It's October 26, 2021. It's a Tuesday. Welcome to the program Agenda. You are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250. Thank you very much to all of you who have subscribed or who are subscribed to Cignal TV because you are a dedicated follower, and also because you will get to see so many different programs via Cignal TV's different packages. In any case, others can also watch us via facebook.com/onenewsph and also on YouTube, One News PH. So, dating dasal yan na after a while, medyo talagang lalawak pa ang makakapanood ng agenda. In any case, thank you for joining us today. And let's start today properly with our daily starter. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. Kumbaga sa Tagalog, huwag po kayong magbibigkas, huwag kayong magsasalita o magsasabi ng mga baluktot, masama o hindi ka nais-nais na mga bagay. Lalo na ngayong panahon ng eleksyon, kampanya at politika sa Pilipinas, medyo there are a lot of people who have really been swept, kumbaga nadadala, carried by passion and politics to utter things that they themselves are not sure of, or even if they are sure of, they utter it or say it in very destructive and very damaging ways. Now, just as a reminder to our viewers, the word from Ephesians 4:29 is very important today because one thing we adults, we the older people should avoid is leaving an inheritance of hate, judgment, anger, or prejudice on the younger generation, especially the young children or grandchildren. Kasi alam niyo po, it is one thing to express your political views, but when you say bad things or damaging things, especially in front of children, you may not intend to, but you are actually molding them, shaping them, and preparing them to become just like you. Ang pinakaayaw mo yung mini-me. Let them develop their own views and opinions, but let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth. Yung lang maayos, katotohanan, and when, there are truths that hurt, there are truths that are, not nice, but you don't have to say them in an ugly way. So that's our daily starter. Thank you for that. Now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And there you go for October 26, 2021. That's the front page today, Tuesday. Philippines now, low risk for COVID, according to the Department of Health. That's great news. According to the DOH spokesperson, Yusek Maria Rosario Berhere, the growth rate is not for the last 2 weeks of COVID-19 has been minus 48, negative 48 na. So it's really went down, and our ICU utilization is down to 63.16%. And if you say mataas pa yan, well, actually mga kaibigan, that number represent people who have to stay in the ICUs long term. Kasi pag na-ICU, hindi naman po overnight. They stay there 1 week, 2 weeks. So the ICUs stay occupied, but it has gone down from, I think, a high of 80s or even maybe 90. It has gone down to 63.16%. So congratulations, Filipinos. Congratulations, Philippines, for cooperating and for all of us achieving that goal. And at the top of the Philippine Star header, Department of Education has announced, Secretary Liling Briones has said, parents have the last say on in-person classes. Okay, the face-to-face classes are not mandatory and parents can decide if they want to send their children to face-to-face classes or not, especially if there are an increase of cases in their area, COVID cases. 90 schools have been okay to participate in the F2F or face-to-face, and 92% of the teachers and staff in those schools are fully vaccinated. The face-to-face classes will start November 15. There are 20 private schools participating, and one international school has applied for inclusion in the face-to-face classes, subject to the approval of their plans and protocols. Next, back to the front page. Senate bills. Okay, I think it's the Senate bills filed versus candidate substitution. In any case, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the news. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian has filed the Senate version of the bill, proposed law, proposing the banning of candidate substitution. In other words, if a candidate voluntarily withdraws his candidacy, he cannot be replaced by another. No substitution. Di ba? Parang sa basketball. Okay? Unless may timeout o kaya merong approval ng referees, no substitution. Upo ka muna sa bangko. So here, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian and is the principal author of that bill, and the co-authors are Zubiri, Binay, Villanueva, and Grace po. Okay, let's go back to the front page of the Philippine Star. And, okay, economic managers, okay, 1 billion fuel subsidy. Okay, ayan po, no? Medyo this is going to be an interesting development, because the Cabinet Level Development Budget Coordination Committee, or DBCC, has committed to get 1 billion pesos from the from the unprogrammed appropriations under the support for infrastructure projects and social programs. Kumbaga, kumuha sa kanan at nilagay sa kaliwa, kukuha sila ng pera, 1 billion pesos, and will give it to the Land Transportation Franchise Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, and the LTFRB in turn will distribute it to 178,000 public utility vehicle drivers under the Pantawid Pasada. Now, I am saying this is going to be a very interesting development, because I'm sure maraming sisilip dyan at magtatanong. Yun lang, ibang tao nagtatanong na, how sure is the government that the 178,000 PUV drivers that they have in their list are all poor or individual owners of jeepneys, etc. Kasi marami rin pong ayoko naman lahatin, pero may mga alam akong ilang congressman, senador, mga sikat na merong fleet of cars, taxis, etc. Meron pa nga mga bus. So, the question is whether that money will go directly to those most in need of the subsidy, or will it be spread again to the favored people? Okay, let's go for back to the front page. And okay, little better improvement. Tally of Philippine COVID-19 cases, 4,405 na laang. Sadly, the deaths are 149 dead Filipinos yesterday. And like I predicted, it is now closer to 42,000 kasi 41,942. I remember back in arithmetic ba yun o mathematics, you round it off to the closest figure. 41,942, halos 42,000 na yan. Okay, so please be careful out there, wear your mask, etc. Now, ito po, seniors jabbed with Sinovac and Sinopharm na rin need third dose according to the World Health Organization. Okay, yan po, no? The WHO said people who are 60 years old and above and who are vaccinated by with Sinovac or Sinopharm vaccines need to get a third dose kasi humihina. Apparently, as time goes by, the efficacy or strength of the vaccine is getting weaker. So a third dose will help them. Now, this is very different from a booster shot. Iba pa ho sa booster shot ito. Now, the thing is, according to DOH Secretary Duque, his instructions is that this should be done, the first to be given the third dose, if you were vaccinated with Sinovac or Sinopharm, should be those who are immunocompromised. So may mga cancer, may mga diabetes, chronic diabetes, etc. Yung may mga sakit po, karamdaman, whose immunity are at risk. And then, that will happen later this year, alongside the healthcare workers. So, uunahin, they will start with healthcare workers and immunocompromised people up to the end of the year, and perhaps all the seniors will be addressed in 2022, beginning with the 80 years old and above, then the 70 years old to 79, and then the 60 years old to 69 years old. Yun po ang program nila for the third dose. Hindi pa pinag-uusapan yung mga booster shots. Okay? Now, the Malacanang warns versus super spreader in Dolomite Beach visits. Kasi ang dami po dinadagsa. People are flocking or were flocking in droves to the Dolomite Beach the minute that the ban was lifted on people going out, and unfortunately they have had to, I believe, close it down again to put some order in place because hindi nakakaya ng current martial system ng DNR. So, please, hindi lang po sa Dolomite Beach, pati na rin doon sa mga parks, sa mga malls, etc. Kasi baka lalo na this weekend, I think this weekend is going to be a real test on whether we as Filipinos have the discipline and the survival instinct not to crowd. Okay, so there you go. Malacanang warns versus super spreaders at Dolomite Beach. And there, ayan po, si Mayor, Manila, Vice Mayor, hindi ba? Kung na gano'n, tatakbo na, ewan ko kung nag-resign na si Isko, no? Pero Manila Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna administers a COVID vaccine during the inoculation of minors with comorbidities at Gat Andres Bonifacio Memorial Medical Center. This essentially signals the ongoing vaccination of minors 14 to 17 who have comorbidities, diabetes, asthma, etc. Okay. And we have the SM employees deciding to donate their 2.5 million, kasi sa balita, no? 2.5 million Christmas party fund to different charities serving the underprivileged. In that photo, the check is for 500,000, which was given by Jose Mari Banson, SMDC President, and Stephen Tan of the SM Supermalls to Philippine Star and CEO Miguel Belmonte and EVP Lucien Dichoco to support naman Operation Damayan in its holiday relief and charity projects. Kasi po, yung Oplan Damayan ng Philippine Star, kahit Pasko, umiikot. Kasi marami naman tayo mga kapatid, kahit Pasko talo. Okay, let's go back to the front page of the Philippine Star. And there you go. A marshal reminds Manila Bay Dolomite Beach visitors to observe health protocols. And the DENR is set to implement a 15-minute time limit on those visiting the beach to reduce the number of people in the area. This just reminds me of some of the tourist spots abroad na sobrang daming tao. Talagang you literally just walk past. Yung parang doon sa Japan, meron kaming nadaanan because there's so many people and so many tourists, you literally just walk through. You can't even stand there long enough to enjoy the tourist spot. Okay, President Rodrigo Duterte to attend the ASEAN Summit virtually on October 26 to 28. And I am sure that the President will be addressing the summit again regarding COVID, etc., etc. It's a controversial summit kasi parang yung leader ng Myanmar sinabihan, yusin mo muna yung bahay mo bago ka sumama sa amin. Okay, Philippines loses 2.2 trillion to COVID-19. This is the reason why people like Joey Concepcion has been badgering everyone to try to get the economy back on its feet because the Philippines lost $43 billion for non-performance. Hindi tayo nakaproduce, hindi tayo nakapagtrabaho, etc. Ang nawala, 2.2 trillion pesos. Masakit po yan, mga kaibigan. And that's why those of you who have a way of making money, generating jobs and employment, please, let's all do our part para makabangon na yung ating bansa. Okay, let's now go to the main interview of the day. Yung ating pong may interview, medyo I'm very concerned for him because I just found out yung bahay pala niya na bato ng Granada. Kabait-bait na tao nito. Very helpful. I don't know. Baka naman nalaglag lang nung dumadaan yung isang terrorist doon sa may harapan nila. Let's bring in 2nd District Representative of Cagayan de Oro City, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. Cong Rufus, good morning, comrade.
Maayong bunta, good morning, Comrade Cito, and to all your viewers and listeners.
Ano ba yung nabalitaan ko na may someone threw a grenade in front of your house? Did somebody throw? Did someone drop? or have you been receiving death threats, Congressman Rodriguez?
I have been in service for 18 years, Cito, 6 years as Vice Governor, 12 years as Congressman. I have not received any death threats, whether by letter or by messages in my phone or text and so forth. So nothing. But then last September 29, 1:12 in the early morning, a person threw a grenade into my house. No, so nakuha naman sa CCTV. Person nakabonet, mayroon pang tuwalya sa kanyang on his head, threw the grenade inside and it hit our parking area in our home and immediately ran as seen by the CCTV. So consistent with the theory that the guy really was afraid and was intending the grenade to blow, to explode. But it did not. So thank God it did not. So now the police and the NBI are now enlarging the CCTV footage so that makita talaga yung face. Otherwise, wala pa tayong leads except one who called the station in one of the stations of Cagayan that her husband has been involved. And that lead has also been considered by the NBI and the police.
Okay, but why would someone think of doing that to you, of all people? Kasi you've not really been, is this, do you think, political, or is this just, destabilization plot, etc.? Kasi, I mean, you are in Mindanao.
Well, I believe that it is political because at the time, Cito, I was announcing that I am considering to run as mayor of Cagayan de Oro City. So some probably candidates or some leaders of these candidates were threatened, and so they threw the grenade. So that may be political. It's no other reason, because now I've decided to run again as congressman. So I think there is no more problem there, and there will be no more violence that may be coming my way.
Well, I'm surprised, Congressman Rodriguez, because your caliber and your dedication to service has been so good, and I'm not trying to flatter you, that I actually presume you would be running for senator because you are already a national personality. Why would you even slide down to mayor and now continue as congressman when in fact some people already said si Rufus malamang senator na yan?
Well, first, there were many of my leaders also who said, why don't you also give service to the city? The city needs somebody to be able to really move forward and to be able to give aid, ayuda, to our people, which this present city government had failed to do. So, but there were many also said, Kong Rufus, please continue in Congress because we have our voice there. You have been able to bring all the assistance, all the programs to our city. So please continue to be our, our person who will work for us, our benefit in the Congress. So I filed there I filed again for re-election. Yung Senador Cito, mahirap yun kasi that is resource-driven, no? So either you're very popular or number two, you really have to campaign in 82 provinces. And that's a lot of expense. And your friend have no resources to wage a national campaign for Senator Cito. So, ito lang tayo sa ating sa Congress, yes.
You know, one of the reasons why I heartily agree to you coming on board for today is because you are a very good resource person and independent-minded. Now, there are many Filipinos who can't understand that it is resource-driven, that it requires a lot of money. Could you please educate our viewers? What exactly are people talking about when candidates or politicians says, pare, that needs about 300 million or 500 million to run for Senate? I mean, what do you need I understand you need to travel, you need to put up campaign offices, but as far as I know, in foreign elections, particularly the U.S., you have volunteers and you have local supporters who put it up, who front up the money, the organization, and even fundraise. Bakit dito kailangan mo ng 300 million? How much do you really need? Is it correct, 300 million or 500 million to run?
I think it is, you need about at least 500 million. One big expense ito is advertisement in the leading TV stations and radio stations. That is
Yeah.
a lot already because, for example, in the leading stations, the spot is about 300,000 every 1 minute and so forth. I'm not very sure now. So malaki talaga ang gastos. No, I remember one congressman who ran for senator, 300 ang gasto niya, million, sa kwan lang, sa advertisement in the TV and in radio. And that's very, very high. That's very high for an expense, no? And then each province, you should have your people there. They would have some, vehicles to go around about you and also get the people in the provinces and the cities really know of your presence and your qualification. So mahirap talaga, magastos talaga yung Senado. So we
Okay.
have not we have not been entertaining that thought, Cito. So dito
Yeah.
lang tayo because nahirapan nga tayo to spend for a congressional fight. How much more for a senatorial derby? So
Okay.
mahirapan talaga.
Well, we respect your decision, but going back to the education of our viewers, pasensya ka na, I'm going to make you our political science professor this morning. No? Kasi talagang Filipinos are really asking for explanations.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you said 500 million you need, and then it's expensive to advertise on television. I hope my bosses don't scream at me. But recently, there were talks, I just forgot who the lawmaker was, na nagsabing we should do something or put a stop to Congress being the one giving the franchise to television stations and radio stations para we can take the politics out of this. Because I've always said it is an infringement on press freedom when Congress can dictate who gets to have the franchise or not. Now, you mentioned this cost of advertising. If you put those two issues together, na Congress cannot be the one giving the franchise, is it also possible to include there, okay, when it comes to public information, public service, or political advertising, there must be an affordable rate for all. Kasi it's not only for sikat politicians, but also for aspiring public servants. If we bring down or fix the cost of advertising on television and radio, alam ko parang nadidinig, minumura na ako ng mga, walang iya ka, Beltran, traidor! but it's not possible.
Well, first, the Constitution really gives the power to give franchises on public utilities and radio programs and radio and TV companies to the Congress. So the absolute authority is for Congress to give franchises. We cannot give that to others. So there are instances. There is one that there was really a failure of Congress to afford press freedom and to allow the ABS-CBN to continue. There was no reason why it was cut. So that is one instance. But isa lang naman yan. But we hope that the next Congress, we will be able to file again, and we will have the ABS-CBN go back to programming. Now,
Yeah.
as to the limiting of rates, very difficult because we also believe that our stations, the companies, should also have the freedom to also have this kind of rates, and for politicians if they can afford to have it. So mahirap yung interfering with private enterprise on this particular point. So it will not fly, Cito, to limit the advertising because we are now intruding into the prerogative of the TV stations and also the radio stations.
Okay, well, I'm putting it there because that is a question asked by many people. Now, regarding yung power of Congress, constitutional power of Congress to issue franchise, can the Congress delegate that authority to, like, let's say, the NTC or some government agency? Because it has been done, yung mga, di ba, franchise sa mga airlines dati, and you needed to go to Congress. In fact, I sat in front of Senator Maceda, Ernie Maceda, at one point, representing a franchise for an airline. And pero ngayon, wala nang ganun, di ba? I mean, it's open.
Well, the Constitution does not allow. It did not place there in the case of franchises. It did not place there as may be provided by law. In other words, there is no authority for Congress to really delegate this, because unless we amend the Constitution, it is there, and there is no provision that it may be provided by law, meaning that it depends upon the Congress. So talagang it is really embedded in the Constitution that all franchises will emanate from the House, which can approve it, then deny it. So that is the power of Congress, Cito.
Okay, but that then reminds me of what you have been trying to do for over a year. Yung bang limited amendments to the Constitution,
Yes.
actually sentence or end words lang yung whatever happened to that, well, as provided by law?
Our 11 constitutional amendments, which are really economic in nature, nothing political, has been approved last year and is now in the Senate. And the Senate has received that, but it has not really acted on that by constituting itself as a constituent assembly and to have 3/4 to vote in favor or against the 11 amendments sent by the House. So it's in the Senate, Cito, and nothing has happened in the Senate.
Yeah, but is there still hope for that to pass through? Because I mean, it can make a big difference for the economy and for business.
Well, that is our hope and prayer, and that the Senate looks at this and those amendments and approve it. But the leadership of the Senate and the senators are not minded to go into constitutional change, even for economic. So therefore, this, I believe, there's no more time. We are now facing the budget and then the election. So there seems to be a very cold reception by senators of our proposal. So I don't think it will happen this particular Congress, the 18th Congress, but probably we'll try again, God willing, in the 19th Congress, if the senators will be open, because we really need this, Ito, to open the economy. We need to have a good fight among the ASEAN countries by providing an easier lax investments by foreigners in the Philippines. Unlike now, sa Constitution talaga, 60-40 lang or 70-30. So wala talaga. So wala tayong laban. So doon pupunta sa ating ASEAN neighbors ang mga investors, because investors would like to have control of the money that they set in. Kung 40% lang, 30% lang, baka mawala pa yan. Because they are not in control of the how the company will be run.
Okay, so as far as that's concerned, to be continued na naman. Now, going to other topics in your neighborhood, medyo may mga nagmi-meeting daw dyan, si Sara, si Bongbong, si Bato. What is the sentiment of people in your part of the Philippines, in Mindanao, regarding the politics? Because one question I raised with Team Agenda was, can we find out how has Mindanao prospered with all of this politics? May I put that question to you, Congressman Rodriguez?
Well, as to who are the candidates and what are the feelings are of Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao, that is too early to tell, because right now we don't really have the fixed list of who are running for president and vice president, especially really because of this our law section 77, which allows up to withdrawal up to November 15. So how can people now decide whom to support when there is no clear list of who are running. Unless we finalize the list of president and vice president, that's the time that we can be able to decide whom to support. Now, that is why my party, the Centrist Democratic Party of the Philippines, nationwide, we have also leaders and some elected local officials all over the country. We will have our convention on November 18, National Convention, November 18, after the November 15 deadline, so that we can determine who our party will support for president, vice president, and 12 senators, Cito.
Yeah, okay. Now, because of all of that, you were the first, or among the first, who proposed a bill. I think you're the major author of this bill banning substitution of candidates. Now, do you think your fellow congressmen and the senators will agree to that? Kasi parang it's become a card up their sleeve.
Well, I believe our House and the Senate will support this. In fact, just yesterday, 5 senators already filed a similar bill. Now,
Yes.
I am the first one to see this problem. After October 8th, I filed after 4 days this bill, House Bill 10830. So this bill is entitled a bill to amend Section 77 of the Omnibus Election Code, because under the Section 77 of our code, there are 3 instances where we will have substitutions. First, death. Second is disqualification. And third, voluntary withdrawal. And that is why there is a period after October 8th up to November 15, because our law allows substitution of withdrawing candidates to be substituted by another party mate who can run in his behalf. No? So therefore, we have filed this bill, Cito, and I believe that the House, we in the Congress, we don't have any placeholders. I have been running many elections, and when the deadline comes, I file personally.
Okay.
There is no placeholder. So I think that's the same sentiment with the congressman and, of course, the 5 senators whom I thank for now filing. So we have now support in the Senate, because they have now a ban on withdrawal classification.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Kong Rufus, and when we return, let's continue discussing that and other items here on the agenda. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250, as well as on Facebook.com, One News PH, and on YouTube, One News PH. Okay, and thank you, of course, to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet, giving us great service. Let's go back to our regular guest here on agenda, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez of the 2nd District of Cagayan de Oro City. Congressman Rufus, we were talking about this anti-substitution bill. Now, people are beginning to wonder, what purpose does the COMELEC serve if they cannot control this, we don't even know how to call it, kasi electioneering, premature campaigning, the substitution, this farce, this farce in terms of substituting candidates. Now, kayo ba mga congressman, have you talked about this? Kasi parang we know that the officials of COMELEC sincerely want to do their work, but is it true that their hands are tied?
Well, for this election, there's nothing we can do. This bill, if it becomes law, is prospective, meaning it will be applied in the 2025 election. So, October 8 has already has already passed. We are now going to November 15. So, this bill, both in the House and those filed, and that bill filed in the Senate, will be for the prospective, the coming election. So, this election, we have to go by what Section 77 says. So that's why we will have the November 15. The COMELEC is right that when a person files, there is the bona fide intention to run. But in the case of the Senator Bato, he already said that he had the intention to become president and he was holding this particular position, this filing, on behalf of Mayor Sara, who may run. So therefore, clear na wala talagang intention. But yan. But the point is, even if this may become considered by law as nuisance candidates, still it will take a process to disqualify them. No, for those filing against, there can be a case filed against the placeholders that they are not, they are nuisance candidates, that they are not intending really to wage campaign and to run. But the point is, matapos yung November 15,
you can file a case, but he will simply be disqualified because he's a nuisance candidate. But there is no criminal aspect, there is no punitive aspect if a person is dismissed or disqualified.
So, pag disqualified na, the thing is, there can be no substitution. Kasi wala na, disqualified ng placeholder. So that is the effect of it. But can that be done before November 15? I would believe it will not be done because it cannot be done because it takes time. When there is a disqualification, you have to have a hearing. There has to be due process. Just answer. Wala na. Aabot na tayo ng November 15 dyan. So, illusory yan nga maging disqualified sila. So, the law now provides so, and so that is what we have. And so, we continue to have that. But we want to have this bill approved for the next election na wala nang ganito. Pag, deadline na. There's no other deadline. So when there's a deadline, that is where the candidate should really file or not file. Cito.
There is even a sin here of senators na may kasalanan ng mga senador, sin of the senators that no one is talking about. A senator, a sitting senator, can apply for or file a candidacy for president, and if he loses, he can go back to being a senator.
Yes, Cito. That is my second bill. I have two bills filed, no? House Bill 10830, that is to ban substitution, except for death and disqualification. The second bill is 10831, which is really to consider those filing for another position considered resign. Because you are right, no? Senators in their midterm, six years alive, on their third year, kasi they have nothing to lose, they file for president or vice president. Kaya dumadami yung ating mga kandidato. Why? Because they are senators and they have another 3 years. If they lose there, they return to their position. So I have filed a bill that no more. If you file for another position, like a senator running for president or vice president, by filing your certificate of candidacy, you are deemed ipso facto resigned. Cito.
Okay, now what about qualifications of candidate? Hindi ko lang na mabunot yung viewer natin, a lady viewer, who had a really great suggestion. She said we should have a particular tighter requirements for would-be candidates. Kasi parang kahit sino pwedeng mag-file, tumakbo, namesake, etc. But, a security guard applying for a job needs a medical certificate, needs a police clearance, needs recommendations, etc. Is it possible to do something about those very basic, almost elementary requirements for candidacy? Parang kalokohan.
I've read that in my thread. No, there is a comparison of running for president and other positions and apply for security guard. There are more requirements. But precisely, in a democracy, Sito, there is a basic only requirement of being able to read and write and being a voter and a resident. Yun lang. So in other words, you have the age requirement for president, you have the age requirement for other candidates. That's number one. Number two, able to read and write. Number three, residence where you are going to run. So precisely, we are a democracy. Republicanism is that sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. And so therefore, this is a free country. And so if you put property requirements, if you put educational requirements, that will, Sito, that will deny the right of everyone as long as yun nga, basic lang able to read and write, and then who is a resident and of the place that they are running and the proper age. Yun lang ang qualifications to become a voter and to run for any position. So I believe that will stay so.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You are a veteran congressman. But you cannot run for senator because you don't have the money, and yet all of these 1,000 plus people are filing para sa pagsasali.
Yeah, that is precisely why it's a democracy. So anybody can, as long as you follow just the requirements of being, be able to read and write, being of age, and having that residence, you are really going to be able to run. And COMELEC will only have a ministerial duty to accept it. Then let the people decide. The people decide.
Congress cannot do anything about that. You cannot even change the law or.
No, Sito. It's in the Constitution. There's basic requirements to be able to be a voter and to be able to be voted on. So that's the Constitution yan. So and I don't also agree that we put qualification requirements and also property requirements or income requirements or those that only pay taxes. So wala We cannot do that because I believe in this very, very rooted democratic principles that we have, that everybody is a chance. After all, the filing does not mean that you're going to win. A filing of a candidate only means that you will be considered by the people, and the people would vote for you, even if you're not a college graduate, even if but you're just able to read and write. Wala tayong problema doon. I mean, that is the law, that is the Constitution. And I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, who has the burden or the cost to get rid of nuisance candidates? Let's say, for example, somebody runs for Congress in your district with the same family name. Pero alam mong kamote, isang dummy candidate just to disperse your votes. Who has the burden to have that person disqualified? Is it the COMELEC, or do you have to hire a lawyer and spend money and have that person disqualified?
Well, normally it will be the candidate who believes that there is another candidate using the same name just to be able to make your votes 3 votes, no? So that is why you have to get a lawyer and file a case for declaration of a nuisance candidate against that person. And so therefore, it will be done, and many have been disqualified, to the credit of COMELEC. Once, there is really a holder of a position who has been known, who has been serving, then medyo may nag-file, ipafile ng kabila, yung kalaban talaga ng isang tao, the same family name. So that makuan. But at this time also, Cito, there is difficulty for stray vote because ang balota may pangalan na Nung una kasi, wala Pag walang susulat ka sa pangalan. Na kung masulat mo ng pangalan, family name lang, pareho ng yung real candidate, and here is a nuisance candidate. Pag isulat mo yung pangalan na yun, for example, De La Cruz, stray na yan. Kasi nga walang family name, no? Now, that is why now may pangalan na So mag-circle ka na lang. You circle the blacken the circle, and the names are there. But still, clearly, there are really disqualifications, even up to now, of nuisance candidates filed by the real candidates.
Okay, so I will campaign for you to win again in the 19th Congress. Nananawagan po ako sa lahat ng viewers dyan sa Cagayan de Oro, pati yung mga tiga Victory Church, mga kaibigan ko sa Bongero, boto natin si Kong Rufus. Kasi ako mag-a-apply na ako sa'yo na ghostwriter ng mga batas. Kasi nakakainis na talaga Kong Rufus, itong mga taking advantage. Now, before we get
Before that,
into it,
salamat sa endorsement. That is really very, very helpful and convincing. Thank you very much. But yes, you don't need to be my ghostwriter. You can send me any bill that you believe is good for our people, and I'm going to file it, Cito, for you. Because any idea of friends like you, good and brilliant friends, can really support our cause in the House by filing bills that you believe will be good for our country. So just send me, Cito, and we'll file it. Anyway, may time pa tayo ngayon eh. Because
sige,
wala pa.
gawin natin kasi talagang nakakainis na itong mga nuisance na ito, substitution, and mga politiko taking advantage. Kumbaga, kung makachamba, magpe-presidente, pero kung matalo, balik sila sa pagkasenador. Ay, nako. Anyway, may a big question that a lot of people are asking, and I don't want to compromise you politically, but
Yes.
To be objective, what can you say about all of these surveys? Because a lot of people are saying, Kuya, can you believe the survey results or what so-and-so survey is saying or this outlet is saying that so-and-so is in the top? Parang sabi ko, simple lang po ang tanong dyan. Ano ang nagawa ng kamote na yan for the last 6 years? Now, what is your reaction to all of these surveys that make people who weren't even in public service, literally not in public service, so popular nowadays?
Well, surveys are now cheap, meaning there's so many surveys. So I do not anymore look at these surveys because they have also many surveys and different results. So that is why it's very difficult to just follow these surveys. No? So I am now saying that let us not depend on surveys. Let us see who will be the best president, vice president, and senators that we should be able to put in office for 2022. Forget about the surveys. They're just so many. They're all confusing. They're so dissimilar. And I believe that it has canceled their importance or their effect on the people.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Congressman Rodriguez. And when we come back, let's talk about other political concerns. And para po may matutunan kayo from Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome to the program Agenda again. Okay, welcome back. And I'm your host, Cito Beltran, with us. Joining us for the last portion of the interview, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. Kong Rufus, for our viewers who are still trying to decide sino ba ang kukunin nilang presidente, vice president, etc., how should they go about choosing a president or a vice president or even senators?
Well, I believe that those who have the competence, proven track record, and those who are very qualified in terms of, being able to see what are the needs of our country should be the one that we should be able to vote for. No, qualified, determined, and has a track record of public service.
Okay, kasi I've had the chance to interview and to speak privately with many of these leaders, and at least two presidential candidates I know were considering choosing a vice president na doktor kasi daw ang problema daw ng bansa COVID-19 and the pandemic. And I said, hindi, kasi hindi naman doktor ang kailangan mo dyan, manager, executive. Now, do you agree with that philosophy that our biggest problem is going to be COVID-19, or is it the economy? Because we just lost, I think, 2 trillion pesos in the last year.
Well, we have right now, what we have is the pandemic. It is simmering down, but still, there still will be need for to combat this, especially probably with booster shots. No, we are protected now because we have already our vaccines, but it's a finding worldwide that there may be need for booster shots, and so therefore, our government has considered our frontliners who received theirs about 8 months, 9 months ago to be the ones given booster shots first. No, so this will be a problem, still a problem of COVID-19, and the complementary problem is the economy, how to be able to revive the economy. So, the candidates considered some doctors, some economists, so that is their own right also to consider them for vice president or what. Now, the people will decide because one candidate is a doctor for his slate, and he believes that they believe this slate that it still be COVID-19, and they're saying that probably now who are handling our medical problems are not really in the field of medicine. Referring to, for example, some of our leaders now who are fighting COVID-19 are not doctors. No, so that is the feeling of one slate. No, so some also would require that there should be a vice president that would also be an economist, so that after we are able to stabilize, we cannot really say that COVID will disappear, because mainly believe that this will continue. So we just have just like flu, like influenza. These are things that may all be there, and so we need to continue to have these shots, and therefore, so therefore we need also an economy so that we will be able to revive and to strengthen our economy in the coming years while we have this continuing pandemic. So that is the right of each slate, and the people will decide on that. It will be a good discussion
So,
whether who will be able to have that. Yes,
as far as you're concerned, competency, track record, and determination.
correct. That was are the three. Yes, because you may not have that education, but if you're able, not you're not a lawyer, you're not an accountant, you are not a doctor, but if you have a track record of public service, nakita na you have been able to do that, then that will be okay. So we will have determination, and then we have the public service and track record, because how can you decide whether he will do well by what he has done? Kasi
Okay.
nakita natin yung mga wala namang nagawa, paano naman yan na iboboto natin na in the time that they were holding positions, wala naman tayong nakita na substantial achievements at walang track record. So Yun ang very important.
Ayun, okay. Well, I think you said it all, Congressman Rodriguez. Thank you very much. At inuulit ko po sa mga tiga Cagayan de Oro City, iboto si Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, paborito ng agenda.
Thank
I'm
you,
just
thank you.
calling it. Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
thank
Cong
you.
Rufus.
Yes, thank you, Congrats Cito. That is an endorsement that seldom comes from you. Ako pa lang yata
Yes.
na-endorse mo over the radio.
You're
Over
the
TV.
first.
Yeah,
You're the
so
first.
thank you very much for that, for that confidence and trust in me, asking my fellow Cagayanons to vote for your friend. Thank you, Congrats
Okay.
Cito, and mindful tags sa atong tanan.
Okay, that's Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, and I do not endorse people I do not trust. He has always delivered on the suggested bills and laws that we proposed through the years on this program, and he has always been accessible. So I endorse him personally. Okay, now we are well. Sorry, boundary na po tayo. We have to close the program, but we leave you with the Lord's blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his face toward you and give you peace. God bless all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Agenda. Please keep it here on One News PH. Thank you. Have a great day.